Hi, I'm Mike Turner, your friendly filmmaker. And like I said, I had a viewer question and I'm going to read it to you. It says, what would be a 4K camcorder you would suggest for live video streaming in low light settings, live music, dance, and theater, etc.? And this one is coming from K4 Radio. So K4 Radio, thank you for your question. And this comment was actually left in the Canon XF400 versus the Sony NX850 low light test. So if you haven't seen that video, you might want to check it out if you're thinking about either one of those two cameras. So I think to answer your question, I'm going to suggest the camera that you saw in that test, which was the Canon XF400. It is a very good camera in low light conditions, especially a camcorder, since you said you are looking for a camcorder. For me, it's one of the best ones I've used. That is a fixed lens type camcorder. Definitely did the job. Of course, the Canon XF400, brand new, is about $2,500. So that will be one suggestion. And I'm going to offer 5 different cameras here, but they're all kind of similar. So you have the Canon XF400, right? So you can shoot 4K all the way up to 4K 60 with that camera. It also does offer some IP streaming capabilities. Excuse me. Let's turn that off. It does offer some IP streaming capabilities in it, but you have to be mindful that it's not the RTMP or RTMPS protocol, which is used for live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. So if you were looking to do that type of streaming, you're not going to be able to do it directly from the camera. But my assumption is that you might be going through a laptop, you're using OBS Studio like a lot of people use, and a Cam Link or some other device. Then there's the XF405 if you needed STI capabilities for whatever you're doing. Same camera, just has STI port on it, but it's the same camera. Then there's also the GX10. So if you don't need that XLR handle, you get the GX10. It's the same camera without the handle and the STI. So it has no STI either, but it's the same camera. Same 1-inch sensor, really good in low light, pretty good autofocus in it. They all have the dual pixel Canon autofocus. Although I find that it doesn't really work as well in those cameras as it does like in a mirrorless camera. And let's just hold on for a second. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, make sure you do so. I'm not sure why you haven't, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button and click the bell for notifications, such as the M50 or one of the newer ones like the R5 or R6 or something like that. In my experience, it doesn't work as well. However, there have been newer firmware updates for this camera where they addressed focusing issues, so I think that was probably fixed. And now for the 4th camera, you could look at the X850. The X850 is similar to the XF400 and the other ones that I just named, except it doesn't do 4K 60. It only can do 4K 30. And the other difference is it doesn't have any of the IP streaming capabilities in it. But once again, you would have to look to see if the protocols that work on the Canon are going to be useful to you anyway, because they might not be. So that part might not even really matter much. Also, you could control the XF400, the XF405, the GX10 remotely, like through a computer or through, I think you can do it through your phone as well. I'm not sure that you could do that with the X850. I don't think that's a feature of it. So that would also be something that you're missing. So now you're looking at a price tag of starting at the XF405, $3,000, going down to the XF400, $2,500, and then going down to the GX10, it's $2,000, and then the X850, I believe, is $2,200. So, because it does come with the XLR handle and everything. So, these cameras aren't that cheap. When I bought my XF400, I bought it used and didn't spend as much. So that's always a possibility too, if budget's an issue for you, which it might not be. Now, I know you said 4K, but just stay with me here. Another option, and this is the 5th option here, is the Canon C100. I know it's not 4K, it's only HD, But if you really don't need 4K, especially because you said you're talking about streaming, I don't think you're not going to really be streaming 4K. I don't think you would be. I mean, I think that'd be pretty slow and sluggish. You're probably going to be streaming in HD anyway. So keep that in mind. If you're really looking to be doing video streaming, you really don't need 4K anyway. The Canon C100 is, I think, brand new right now. Goes for around $3,000 maybe less. And we're talking about the Canon C100 Mark II also. Buying this camera used, you're gonna get it around $2,000 or less actually. And the camera is really good. Out of all the cameras I just mentioned, the image quality is way better and the low light performance blows the XF400 out of the damn water. Now, I know you watched that video that I did and you could see that the low light performance of the XF400 was good, but it cannot even come close to what the C100 can do. I own the C100 right now. It's actually in a case right here. Here it is without its handle, but this camera is absolutely amazing. So I can take this up to about 1600 ISO. And yeah, at 1600 ISO, you're gonna start, well, you're gonna have noise, but the noise isn't that nasty, artifact, disgusting noise that you would see in any other camera, where just, yeah, you have a picture that is somewhat usable, but it looks all muddy and disgusting. You would never want to use it. 1600 ISO on this, it starts to look a little grainy, but it almost looks like film. It's like an aged wine or something. Like, oh man, yeah, that has some flavor to it. It almost makes it look like a nice artistic film. So it's something to think about. If you really want good low light performance, you might want to look into that C100 over something like the XF400 and 405 GX10. I mean, I could name some other cameras as well, but I just feel like if you're talking about low light, I think the ones I named in terms of camcorders are probably going to be some of the best. Now, for anybody else watching, you know, go ahead and let's help out here. What do you think in terms of camcorders would be a good low light camcorder that you could use for something like musical performances, theater, and things like that? Go ahead and put them down in the comments below. Hopefully you find that helpful. Hopefully you find that. Hopefully you found that helpful. And please, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, you know, I'm always answering viewer questions like this, trying to help out. So go ahead and help me out and subscribe. Like the video if you found this helpful. And go ahead, check out the links down below for any of the cameras that I mentioned. And there's also a few books that I wrote that have absolutely nothing to do with video or filmmaking. They're fictional books that I wrote, drama, suspense thriller type books. Down below, they are ebooks. If you're interested, you could check those out. That's one way to support the channel. If you want to support the channel, there's links to donate whatever you like. $1, $2, $3, $1,000. You know, you have to do 1,000, but it wouldn't bother me. That's down below as well. And as always, I'm Mike Turner. Thanks for watching, and I guess I'll see you soon.